to another live stream. It is Sunday, so my usual Friday live stream has been pushed to Saturday and now Sunday. So that's great. If I do it enough, well, I'll just end up back on Friday. So everybody, welcome. Glad y'all are watching. I thought I would try a Sunday. I just got back from church this morning, took a nap, and now I go live. I thought I'll try it, see if it works, see if it works for my schedule. Hopefully it works for y'all's schedule. Don't know. Hopefully y'all aren't having to work in the lab on a weekend, on a Sunday, and y'all can join me. But anyway, glad you're here. Today we're just going to do a simple appliance where we bend some finger springs, anterior finger springs like this, and we're going to rebend those. So I had to bend those so I could take the thumbnail. So, having trouble streaming to your destination. Okay. Well, I guess it's not going to Rumble then. Okay, fine. Looks like Josh was here. I don't know if he's still here or not, Josh Dobson. So, anyway, welcome. Today we are going to be making an appliance to close a gap. That's what the thumbnail said, or that's what the doctor asked for. So it is a simple appliance that's going to just give the doctor the ability to activate these anterior springs and close down a gap or a diastema if you want to be perfect about it. But let me introduce the model here. Let me take these off. I'm going to rebend these so you can see how I bend these. And then let's go ahead. As you can see, we got a pretty good gap between here. And this is a plaster model. So this is pretty nice that I'm actually getting to work on a plaster model instead of a resin model. It's kind of rare now. It used to be rare. I worked on resin models, but now it's all plaster models. But let me, so it's going to be a basic Hawley. So a labial bow. This is a canine, so it's missing this lateral. And this is actually, looks like it's a peg lateral. And then here is the canine. So you can kind of see the midline. I don't have the lower model, but the midline may actually be off. It may have to be actually be here. So that's going to be the beauty of this appliance that we make is the doctor could activate this spring more than this spring and move this one this way. So my drawing is not very good, but anyway, so it's just a basic labial bow, 2 finger springs, and I'm going to do a helical loop right here. I like to put it in the middle of the tooth. And there's Pete. Pete knows I'm live streaming now. And then it's going to have 2 ball clasps. So I need to prep here for a ball clasp and prep here for a ball clasp. But I just want you to, before I prep this, I want you to see. Okay, Pete, I hear you. I just want y'all to see that diastema. It's pretty good diastema, pretty good space there. So let's prep this, and I don't have any of my stuff turned on. It might help if I did that. You can tell. Let's see. No. You can see. I don't know if you can see it from here, but I have my waxing tool. It's heating up, and my waxing tool, I guess they're both called the waxing tool. There's a heating unit. Here's the waxing tool. It's pretty much a soldering iron, but I ordered it from JBC and Company, and she makes a special tip. Now this tip is broken. I've used it so much I got to order a new tip, but I'm starting to kind of like this shape. It's got some corners I can use and stuff. But let me clean that up a bit. And so first thing we're going to do, I got to put separator on this, but I want to get some wax down where I'm going to place this wire, because I'm going to encapsulate this wire into some wax. In that way, acrylic will not get into this wire. And hopefully we have enough time. I can do this in an hour. And hopefully we have enough time, I can show you all the function of these after they're in the acrylic. So now we're gonna, okay, Pete, jeez. So we're going to go ahead and wax out in between the teeth. I don't want acrylic going in there. We're going to have to just shave it off anyway. And then I don't want acrylic. I kind of don't want acrylic touching these teeth at all. So I'm just going to put a real thin layer. And when we go to trim it, I'll probably try to round it nice where when they go together, it's on a nice curve. So I'm just going to wax out some of this rouge here. No. Now Pete's growling. Probably because I'm not paying attention to him. So let's get, where's my, okay, here is my, nope. Nope. This is my separator I use for stone and plaster. Gotta get my paintbrush here. Now turn this mug around since we're hearing Pete. He's my co-host. Let me just go ahead and paint all that. So I'm gonna put 2 coats of this, but I actually need to carve this a bit. I need to carve a little bit of these gums out of the way so that ball clasp can engage the undercuts. So it doesn't take long for that to draw. I think I need to add a little bit of wax right here between the teeth. One thing about the pink wax is when it cools down, it shrinks a little bit, and so sometimes you got to go back and add some. So what we're going to do is use 020. Well, I say that. I like to use 020 wire for my to make these little things, and so these are the little things that we're going to make. They're closing anterior finger springs with a helical. You can make them without them, but if you're closing pretty good space, it's good to have that extra slack in the wire. That way you can really pull it back on the sides and engage in, put some pressure on those teeth. So this is already dry. I'm going to put my second coat of separator on here. So that is ready for acrylic, but we're not ready for acrylic. We still got to bend these wires. So, all right, so we're going to start with, I need to add a little brightness in here. All right, I got to remove this. It keeps giving me an error. Okay, remove. I'll add it later. Save changes. Okay, so what I like to do is get the right pliers here. I like to put a little bitty fold back right here on the end. And I'm going to close that down like that. It can be smaller if you want, but usually I like to put those on there so that usually they're going to activate these in such a way. See if I can find one of these that I've already bent. If you're just joining, I've already bent these just so I can take a picture for the thumbnail. So you can see how bendable they are, right? And so imagine if it was here and the doctor's going to activate it here, and then the patient has to actually take their fingers and pull it back like that and around their teeth. And so if I left that just a sharp point, it's going to stab their finger. So I'm going to put a little bitty bend, almost like a handle, I guess. And I'm going to bend it around the front so it's kind of easy for them to... this would be a little bit different bend if I had a lateral sitting there against this tooth, kind of like on this side. We'll get to that when we get there. And I'm just going to kind of hold it in place and bend it around the corner. I like to come at like like a 45-degree angle. And then right at the middle of the tooth, I'll put a mark here. And then I'm going to take my pliers and put it right in front of that mark. Actually, let me make sure that's right. Yep. Right in front of that mark. Oopsie. And bend it around. And I'm going to go on top. And just like that. So let's put that back on here. And then I'm going to bend this part. The rest of this, right after the loop, the helical part, is going to go into the acrylic. So right now I'm just going to cut it off and leave it like that. And I'll put the little acrylic tag on there a little later. Just going to make a little adjustments here. Make sure it just lays flat. And we're going to cover that with with wax, so that when we do cover it with acrylic doesn't get all up in this loop right here and keep it from working and activating. All right, let's move on to the next side. So I'm going to take my wire again, I'm going to fold over like that. Place it in the same spot. Help if I get into the frame and make it bend in a little bit. Bend up. And then back down, back over. And then back down. There we go. And then come in at like a 45. There's lots of sorts of different ways people probably bend this. This has just been the simplest way. It's just bend this at like a 45, and then when it comes into the central axis of this tooth, right here, and I usually don't, just right at the gum line there, I'll take my pliers, and let me get this other one on here. This is where I like a little bit of a perfectionist OCD type person. I like my loops to be as even as possible and the right length as possible. So as y'all know, I like to use these bird beaks that have these serrations. So I'll do it the same on both of these. I'll put on that first serration, and then I'll bend the loop. Now I'm going to bend it on top, so this swings next to the gum line. So if I put you see how it's stacked, and we'll say the loop is stacked on top. You could have it underneath if you want, but that may or may not help you. I just like these to sweep along as close to the teeth as possible. So let me bend this, or cut this, not bend it. I just lost that forever. Holy cow. Oh no. Okay, everybody stop what you're doing and look. Y'all gotta help me out. It's somewhere around here. I know that's just how it goes. I bent that whole thing in that last bend. All right, anybody see it yet? I need everybody to peel their eyes. All right, let me get my phone. So what I like to do, little tip, is I'll take, the bad thing is my floor is gray and that silver wire kind of blends right in. I'll take my flashlight and I'll flashlight down like this. Where did that thing go? I think I had that thing perfectly bent. It's probably in my shoe. The joys of going live stream, but if y'all work in the lab, y'all know the pain I'm going through right now. I think I lost it forever, guys. Any of y'all found it yet? Anybody? Oh my gosh. Oh, I found it. Yay, all right. I got it. Okay, I got it. Y'all don't worry, I found it. Thanks for y'all's help. Whoever yelled out, there it is, I heard you in my spirit. Okay, so let's go back to this. Nope. Okay, so we have this back down here, and I'm going to just curl these ends. I'm going to cut them a little shorter, and then I'm just going to curl the ends up into like a loop. But you know, you make whatever loop, whatever acrylic tag you want to make. Until you get them waxed down, they get a little crazy. Okay, so just gonna make a little loop. You can make zigzags. You can, you know, bend your name in them. Oh, that one's way off. That's terrible. And get another flat plier. Sometimes what that's the bad thing about doing loops, is sometimes you get them on the wrong plane. So I use 2 pliers, and I'll twist them to get this to lay flatter. See, it's laying a little bit flatter. So then I go and I'm going to put a little loop in here. So this is just mainly to make sure that these don't get pulled out of the acrylic. So this part back here is going to be covered in acrylic. And I do believe this one's big. That's so weird. I don't like that. I don't like it. I think I did the wrong setting. I'm trying to make that one look. See, this is where I get OCD. And, well, I don't know what it is with that side. See how that's tilted? It's tilted in a little bit. So I'm actually going to just hold that. And I'll hold the helical right here. And then we'll bend this. Usually it's pretty easy because this will be in the same plane as this. So I made that loop a little bit bigger, but I think I can live with that. I'm not too, oh, okay, no, I gotta fix it. No, that's just me. I gotta fix it. Okay. Just gonna squeeze it down just a little bit. Now, there's a couple ways of waxing this down. You can either put some sticky wax on the outside or just drip some, I usually put pink wax here. And you want to cover this whole sweeper arm with wax. And you want to cover both sides of the arm. Like so. Now let that cool, because like I said before, the pink wax kind of shrinks up a bit. So I'm going to, there we go. That helical loop is a little torqued, but I think it's still good. Now, again, you want to wax on this side of the wire too, because that spring to activate, it's gonna, sometimes we'll have to pull it all the way back. Oh, that's why. Make sure it's flat here. That thing was sticking out. You can see what this looks like kind of in the front. Now they're, ooh, I can fix that later. They're a little off. This one's a little more gingival than this one. But I can fix that whenever we go to finish QC this. And again, I'm trying to make sure I cover this whole thing in a nice, pretty thick, that thing moved again. This side is the bane in my existence. Okay, now I'm covering. I just got to make sure I cover all sides of that loop, that helical loop. Okay, I think we got it. I'm going to come back and check on it. Again, the wax will shrink just a bit, and then it'll get solid, more opaque as it cools down. You can see this side's more opaque than this side. This is still warm. So let's go straight into bending. Let's get my wires. I'm using 030 wire for my labial bow, and hopefully put that back. Zoom out just a bit. So I'm going to just make a regular labial bow. You do want the labial bow to be smooth because those teeth will be traveling along the wire. And, well, now I gotta find my pliers. I was about to call everybody's help again to look for the wires. And we are just going to go here. All right, moving on to the other side. Again, you want this part to be smooth. You don't want to put any divots or anything that's going to prevent those teeth from sliding against. Now this doesn't need to be kicked out, or this needs to be kicked in, or both need to happen at once. So I'm just going to kind of leave it a little bit on the smooth side. I'm not going to attempt to try to touch this peg lateral. Make my 90-degree bend, hopefully in the right direction. Make my loop. Close. Very close. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut this end right here. It's getting in my way. So you can see this is kind of a really simple retainer. Sometimes the best appliance is just a very simple appliance. You'll be amazed how well these will work. Especially, this is a young kid. They still have baby teeth here. This molar looks like a baby tooth. It's a small kid, I think. All right, do I have those cut even? Nope. Try that again. Let's shoot this one across the room and see if y'all can hear where it lands. I have to be careful when I do that sometimes when my wife is working, because I'll hit her in the back of the head. She'll get mad at me. Okay. I got those bent. Well, now where's my 3 prongs? There we go. I put all my pliers up to try to clean up my bench, but you know how clean this all looks anyway. Probably didn't help much. It just confused me because my pliers aren't where they're supposed to be. Those that bend wires for a living, do y'all like to keep your pliers nice and organized over here? I try to, but as I get going, it kind of messes me up a bit. this mouth is just a little bit lopsided and it's kind of throwing off my wires. I think they're the same length, but this one looks shorter than this one. But I think it's because these centrals are shifted that way. There's no lateral here. They're actually trying to make space for this lateral. And this is a peg lateral. I don't know if they're just congenitally missing this lateral. And eventually they're going to need a ponic or a bridge or an implant or something when they get older. So I'm just going to wax this labial bow down. I didn't even check to see if this is even. Oh, this is awful. Look how much that's flared out right there. Let's see if I can fix that real quick before this thing heals. So what I did was I held right here and I pushed on that in that direction, which is probably going to throw this off a little bit over here. But yeah, pull that up. And there. How's the weather where everybody's at? It is 100 degrees here. So this is actually a very good time to be doing a live stream because I don't want to be outside. So anyway, if you are just joining, if this is your first time here, my name's Cade. My wife and I own a little ortho lab out in the country here in Texas. And I do these live streams every week. I usually do them on Fridays, but then they get moved to Saturdays. And then today is the first time I'm doing them on a Sunday. And I made a joke earlier in the stream. If I keep that up and keep moving it, it'll just end up back on Friday. And it's the same difference. But I do these videos because I like training the next generation of ortho lab techs. Because whenever I started this 20-something years ago, there wasn't much out there as far as training. I was lucky to find a dental school next to me, but there are not many around anymore. But so ball clasp, I just did that one real quick. One thing I kind of started doing was doing these at like a 45, because that's the way the CDT exam wants you to do it. Used to, I just would hug them, as tight as I could. Some doctors wanted a big, huge loop out, which I can see the benefits of that, so the patient can grab a hold of it. Now, where'd that piece of wax come from? And bend this back down. See, I think I need to adjust the other side. I did not do a good job. So if y'all stay tuned, oh, they're wanting fuchsia glitter. So it's like a hot pink glitter retainer. So we'll go right into, like I said, we'll try to do this start to finish because I really want to show the function of these when it's all done. So hang around, and that way you can see what these look like. I'm trying to get this out of the occlusion. Yep, there we go. And bend this down just a bit. There we go. See, now I need to come out of 45. These are going to be two different types. These are going to look two different ways because there's a bicuspid here and there's a baby tooth, baby molar, where that back. So there's a bicuspid underneath this molar right here. So, all right, let's put my little acrylic tags. Again, these are not standard, just whatever you use in your lab. There we go. I'm gonna bend these forward just a bit. I don't know how horseshoe-like I'm gonna make this. But you can kind of see a difference between these two, just because this is a more square section to go around. This one's not as square. I need to turn the AC down in here. Did I turn the pressure pot on? I did not. All right, do that real quick. It is gonna take, actually I probably need to change the water out. I'll probably be faster. And I do love these tiny little 3 prongs because you can actually put bins while the wire is still on the model. There we go. Make a little room underneath them. I tap on them just to make sure that they are off the tissue a little bit so that acrylic can get up underneath it. But this is it. This is our, I'm not done yet. I gotta do the acrylic. Again, I didn't pay attention to these. I'll adjust these a little bit in the QC phase of it. But just your basic labial bow, your, I think I want to add just a little bit of pink wax right here over this helical loop. And so the wax on top of the wires is just to prevent, when I put the acrylic on, the acrylic getting in there. So you want these to kind of sweep up underneath the wire. So like here's your acrylic, here's the wire. You want it to slide up underneath it. But if there's acrylic in there, the wire won't, it'll be stuck. So Roger's all like, do you have video tutorials for newbies like the basic bending? Yes. Check out my website, designerretainer.com, and also check my videos. Some of my best videos are just basic a C-clasp, Adams clasp, wire bending 101. Look at that in my channel. I do have some basic, and they're like 10, 12 years old, but they're my most popular videos. But yeah, check those out. Check out my site. I am thinking of putting together an online course. But if you check out, right now, if you check out designerretainer.com, designerretainer.com, let me type it in here. If you check out that, there should be a button called Wire Bending 101. You can, the first 2 are free, and there's actually, you download a piece of paper and you print it up, and it's got basic shapes, and you practice bending on those basic shapes. And I think I have a couple videos that show beginner wire bending and basic wire bending, how I bend those basic shapes. So check that out. Sonia, hello. I like that pink waving hand. I didn't know we could do that. That's pretty cool. Let me change out the pressure pot water real quick. I can actually move this, I think. So this is my acrylic station here. And this is Sunday, and we had a pretty busy Friday. The reason I couldn't live stream on Friday. Oh, it is pretty warm already. But if you had a pretty busy day, I usually like to start out with a nice fresh pot of water. I almost said coffee. The water will remove monomer-free radicals. And so it's always good to have, and they get stored in the water, and so it's pretty good to change it out pretty often. In the world is there a fork over here? The good news is when I built this little lab, so we have a little lab out here in the country, and my dad helped me build it, me and my mom, and we installed a little 6-gallon hot water tank, and that has come in so handy. Because sometimes if you don't have it, you would have to pour cold water in here, and then wait for it to turn it on and wait for it to warm up. This way I don't have to wait for it to warm up. It still only takes like 10 minutes to warm up, but this part down here, if you can see that, is the heater. I just did a video on my new pressure pot, so you can check that in my video library. All right, let me turn this on, and we will get everything ready. Do a little bit of cleanup. Fuchsia sparkle. I need to order some more. I didn't realize I was running that low. All right, let's move this in closer. All right, everybody, don't get sick. Can I brighten this a bit? I can. How's that? Okay. All right. So y'all have all seen this before. It's pretty basic. I like to start with a thin layer of just basic clear acrylic. I do like to use the tinted monomer because whenever I do glitter and just basic clear, that way it doesn't yellow. This is natural colored monomer here. And to make this acrylic for retainers, it's called the acrylic. The two components are polymer and monomer. The monomer is the liquid, and the polymer is this powder. So what I just put in there was a name. So in the state of Texas, you need a identification in your retainers. I don't think that it's like that with all the states, though. I think it's mainly for dentures, so that in the nursing homes, the dentures don't get mixed up between the patients in the nursing home. You can see this is a really popular glitter, this fuchsia. So I'm going to cover it in clear. That way, whenever I pumice this, the glitter doesn't like poke through. So I'm kind of just putting a clear coat on top of this, so all the acrylic is embedded underneath it. I'll have a few minutes to answer questions, so get your questions in, those that are still watching the live stream. While this is in the pressure pot, I'll have a few minutes while we're waiting on it to cure. It only takes about 5 to 10 minutes or so. I have a fun song I can play while I'm trimming this, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll play that song because I can't talk too much because of all the vacuum running and everything. It's kind of it's a noisy ordeal. So hopefully that will come through, and hopefully I remember to play it. I want to put a little bit here on cover that wire. That's just weird. You can kind of see how it's going to turn out. Again, I'm going to put my clear coat. So with this fuchsia, you really only need one layer of it. I do like to put the glitter pretty thick, but I do buy these pre-mixed glitter. So pretty much you can just take regular clear powder and you can put glitter in it, but you got to buy the right non-toxic glitter, and the monomer will oxidize it. The polymer may oxidize it, and then you lose your color. So I'll let JBC & Company, I buy it from them already pre-mixed because she's already found all the non-toxic glitters and stuff. You can see that in the view behind me, the whole bottom row, you can't see it right now, but the whole bottom row of the shelves behind me with all the powder acrylics. I'm going to add a little bit right here. I feel like it might be a little thin. especially if I want the wires sliding underneath it. You don't want it too thin because it may chip and break off if they bite down too hard. So I'm going to make a slight little bite plate, I guess, even though they didn't ask for one. The doctor she can grind it down. Yeah, there we go. So just going to do some preliminary cuts while this acrylic is nice and soft. And this should just save me trimming time. And it makes it easier to remove off the model. I'm going to clean out here also, just in case I don't want to trap this this wire in acrylic, because there isn't a tooth there. Well, I don't like what I did. What did I just do? I don't like that. Fill that in. I just gouged it. You can see you can be pretty accurate with your powder. Then you should be able to write your name with your, that's a good test for the beginners. All right, there we go. Into the pressure pot it goes. Zoom back out. Those that have seen my channel, you can see my hybrid method I picked up off of the boss I worked for when I was the last lab I worked in. I put on this cup because if I dunk it in the water, this plaster is porous and there are air bubbles trapped in it, and the water will force the air bubbles out and it will force it through this wet acrylic and get big air bubbles in your acrylic. So I'll put it on here and get the initial hardness of the acrylic, and then I'll transfer it to the water so it does a nice deep curing. Okay. Oh, we see some no, that's not me. That's me. Hello. Great lab, Sonia. Oh, good. Thank you. It's a little lab we've built in the country. It's like a mini tiny home. It's like a shed you would buy for a tiny home. We've built it out. If any of y'all are Patreon members, I do have a video coming up soon where I go over each station that I've put in here. So good. So what about the free radicals? So the monomer free radicals get. Oh man, I'm probably not the right one to talk about this. I need Priscilla from JBC. As you can see, those are the acrylics. Those down there are the ones I'm talking about. Those are all glitters. The monomer free radicals is a byproduct of the chemical reaction between the monomer and polymer, and the water will help pull it out of the acrylic, and so it stays in the water. And when you pull the acrylic out, it's extra nice and cured. We use a tea heater to heat the water. I bet that's cool. I used to have a pressure pot I built, and it had like a hot plate you would use in an apartment or like a dorm room or something to boil water. And you'd set it on the very warmest level. So I used to do that. Just to see if I understood, you put a clear layer or lightly tinted layer in order acrylic doesn't yellow. Yeah, so this acrylic, this is how acrylic is naturally in this state, and it will naturally yellow over time. It'll just naturally yellow. So to counteract that, you put a little violet in there and it becomes crystal clear. So if you look at a color wheel, the yellowing is here. If you do the exact opposite, which is violet, opposite of yellow, it will counteract and it'll be super clear. So you put a clear layer, lightly tinted layer, so that yellow. And then I like to trap that glitter, any of the colors, I like to trap it between two layers of clear. So clear on the inside, mainly so whenever you flip the retainer and you look at it on the tissue side, you can see the wires. So when you're trimming, you don't trim through the wire accidentally because you can't see it, like if you use black. So black is a popular color also. So if you use black, you make sure you put some clear underneath so you can see your wires. And then I put like a clear on top, because if you just do the glitter on top, it'll kind of poke through. It won't shine up as well. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Your work much better than my teacher's. Oh, I appreciate that. That I aim to please. Thank you so much. A surprise look. You got the best logo, Sonia. I want to say this name. Basharat. I'm probably not saying that right. Basharat. Great, sir. Thank you. Nice hack with the bubbles. Yes. So there is a steam method, and there's a platform that comes with that, and you would put the water under the platform. You would just sit this on the platform and cure it all the way. You wouldn't ever dunk it in the water, but I just like it dunking in the water, the monomer free radicals, whatever, and I think it just deep soaks the cure and cures faster. So in a couple minutes, I'm going to go back there and drop it in the water. Thank you, Rogers. How is the processing of wire bending compared to ceramics and dentures? Not much. You sell ceramics and dentures for a lot more. Of course, dentures are a lot more involved, and ceramics a lot more involved, a lot more equipment. So let's say a retainer like this, you would charge, I don't know, $60 or so, 70. Like a crown would go for $150. A set of dentures maybe $500 to $1,000, depending on how fancy the dentures are. I've seen some really fancy dentures, but the dentures take multiple days. Where I can do this in an hour, dentures would take multiple days, because you got to cure it overnight for 8 hours in a special clamp device, that kind of thing. So ortho is more about the numbers. So the more you can do, and again, they don't take as long as ceramics and stuff. Makes sense. Violet's also using for painting for same. Yeah. Oh, good point. Because in the lab I work, they just put in water. Yeah. If you have to put stone models in the water, flip it upside down. So, because the bubbles will go up, right? The bubbles don't go down. They'll go up in the water, through the water to the top surface of the water. So if you take your model and this isn't a plaster model. This one you can dunk in the water. A 3D printed resin, there's no air bubbles in here. You can just put it in the water directly. You don't have to put it in the cup. But I put it in the cup just out of habit. And then when I pour up the next one, I dump that into the water. So that, it's just a habit I do. So pretend this is a plaster model, stone model, and you got the acrylic. If you have to put it in the water, flip it like this, teeth down, so then the bubbles come out of the top and not through the wet acrylic. So, yeah. And I'm not claiming, like I said, that coffee cup is, I think the lab I worked at, it was called the hybrid method, which is steam method and soak method combined. So you do a steam method first, and then you finish it off with stove. Can't say it right. All right, let's put it in the water for a few minutes. So I like to shoot my acrylic, all of them at once, or at least 4 at a time. And so then when I do one, I put it in the water like this. So actually, let me flip this over. Usually I put my thumbnail in it to make sure that it is hard. That's my thumbnail method. And so I don't know if any bubbles are going to come out of that. Yep, there goes one bubble. Usually there's like tons of little tiny bubbles coming out. There's some trying to come around the side. But you see those big bubbles coming? If you're like this, they'll come through the wet acrylic if your acrylic's still wet. So this is always my backup plan. If like something's on the cup and it's got to go in the water, but I need the cup for the next one, I'll just flip it over like that. Let me go ahead and cure this. Just do a final couple minutes of curing. Okay. Good point. They don't do it, but I will. And then they'll notice, oh, Sonia's, her acrylic doesn't have bubbles in it. Why is it, Sonia, yours doesn't have bubbles in it? The trimmers will, do you work in just in a department, or do the whole thing start to finish? Because the next person in line may go, I've noticed hers don't have bubbles. What are you doing? You may change the whole process for the whole lab. And as a lab owner, as a manager that used to train lab techs, I train you a certain way, and I want you to learn that way. So it's good as a lab tech to learn the boss's way of doing something and learn it to the best of your ability. But I always was open if someone found a better way. As long as it produced the same end result as I want it, I always want it to, the better way will trump what I do, right? And I was always open-minded with that. So hopefully they do that with you. Oh, your boss is always complaining about bubbles. Yeah, flip it over. Now, you got to make sure it's set, it's not slumpy. It's got to be past the slumpy stage. It's got to be the gel stage, you know, where I was cutting it and then peeling it off. That's the gel stage. If you cut it and then it just kind of slumps back like wet sand on a beach, you slice through it, and the closer you are to the water, the line will disappear. You don't want that. You want to be able to cut it and it stays cut. Then it's ready to go in the water. Because it's slumpy, you flip it over, gravity will pull it down. But if you get an old coffee cup, put it in there, usually doesn't make any changes there. So, no, they don't let me. I'm a newbie. Okay, well, make sure you do it the way they say, and you perfect the way they want you to do it, and then you earn their respect. And then if you come and start doing it a certain way, then hopefully they're open-minded enough to go, oh, we're getting a better result your way. Let's keep going your way. As long as it doesn't take more time and you get the same experience, the same end product. So it's all about the end product for the patient, right? And that's why we do this. We're making these for kind of like the little curls on the ends of my wires, so they don't poke their finger when they pull it back. Those are just those little details that you can do to make the patient more comfortable. Hopefully they wear it more. Hello, neighbor. That is not my neighbor. Who is that? Okay, let's go pull that out of the pressure pot, and I'm going to need to set up a camera. All right. Oh, usually there's a knife around here. Hold on. Who stole my knife? Everybody? You did it. Okay. Not blaming my wife, but it was my wife. So while it's still warm, I scrape off that sticky wax because it doesn't take long for that sticky wax to cool back down and get hard. And then I'll just take my knife and slide it under here. There we go. Okay, so now you see the yeah, let me pull that off. Now all the pink wax is there. All right, let's go steam this. Let's see if I can bring my camera over there. I might have to change my camera angle. I'm just walking around. You ought to see my little box I built here. Oh, come on. Come on. Sorry, guys. Hold on. But I want y'all to see my steamer box here. Here. All right, so this is my steamer, and I use it to steam off the wax. And I've built this. This is like a Tupperware storage container, like shoebox style, and I've cut a hole in it. So then the wax, I'll see all this stuff on here. This is wax from us blasting it off, but this helps keep the sink nice and clean. There we go. Now you can already see, if it's cleared up enough, you can see the action of these. So the doctor is probably going to activate this pretty far, and so it'll be up to the patient to pull them back. But let's go trim this. Let me switch my cameras again. Hold on. Oh, and my music. I got special music. Okay, this is my special trimming music. And turn that up a bit just to overcome the noise I'm about to make by trimming this. Okay, let's go. I gotta set up a camera real quick, and that way y'all can see what I'm doing. All right, so let's go back to that. There's my, well, where's my model? Here we go. So I have a wheel saw here. It's a wheel saw. It's a lathe. Let me show you my setup. Hold on. It's a lathe. I poked a hole, drilled a hole in here, and so this is my quick chuck changer. And so then I have an aluminum oxide wheel, and I use that for a lot of the I use that for the bulk trimming. I think I did a decent job. Sprinkling this. I did a decent job sprinkling this. So I don't think it's going to take too long to trim. I'm just checking the thickness with my hands. Just so it's comfortable. Okay, let's turn that off. That'll be one less noise. Now I like to go through here with this is a stainless steel bristle brush. Let me move my camera over where y'all can see it better. And this will not damage wires, so I usually like to clean up the acrylic around the wires. Now the bad thing is this wheel, these little metal wires will get all over, will stick in your clothing and in your hands and stuff. So, but it's well worth not accidentally eating into a wire with a burr. So we'll just clean up around the wires. Just a little bit of wax on that. Right there. So then I also use this to kind of smooth out, you know, right here in front. And so then I use my acrylic burr here It's kind of dirty. Probably should go steam it, but we'll see. And then I'll trim the height of the acrylic going up the tooth. Go ahead and get this posterior kind of done and out of the way, so I can concentrate on the anterior part. So now I'm just kind of blending it in. So I'm being careful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a slight trick. I think I made that pretty thick. So now you got to be careful when you're trimming right here. You see how close my burr is coming to that wire? And that's a real thin wire. You do not want to hit it at all. If you have a thin cutting disc like this, you can actually pass it up underneath right there, and it's a little bit of a protection while you trim. Pull it back out. See, do the same thing here. Oh, fell out. Well, that one's pretty far away from the surface of the acrylic anyway. Fit it back on here. Got something that's keeping this from sitting down all the way. Good thing is I usually save the trimming and the pumicing part for, you know, Patreons only. But I thought I needed to put it here, keep it here, you know, show it on the regular channel, and then that way everybody can see the final function of this. Notice I put it on the mouth, sorry, on the model of the mouth. Just to see, am I done trimming yet? I think I can take away a little bit here. Again, you don't want to make it too thin where these go. You can kind of rub in your finger sometimes, and you can kind of see how thick or thin it is. Yeah, I'm going to stop there while I'm ahead. Now, I like to do this sandpaper mandrel, and it's all, I think of it like pre-pumice. It's gonna remove all the scratches from that previous burr. That's a pretty rough, coarse cut burr I like to use because it cuts fast, but it leaves the acrylic pretty rough. So I like to use a little sandpaper as kind of a pre-pumice to remove a lot of the scratches, so that it doesn't take as long to pumice. I do not like pumicing. I like high shining. That's the fun part. But I'm like almost 6'3", so usually the height of the table for the pumice I have to hunch over. So I don't like standing there for a long time and pumicing. So the more time I can spend doing it here, the better. let's go and turn this loud thing off. So that was just my dust collector sound. Let's see, we have a few comments. I still got to set up for the pumice. That won't take long. This newbie is really learning now. Oh, good. I'm glad it helps. I'm glad you... What type of sandpaper that is? That is like 150 grit sandpaper. And I get it from, excuse me, Great Lakes. It comes like this, and you can buy it's called a split mandrel. And does this have one? No, it doesn't have the numbers on it. I think it's 150 grit. They only sell pretty much one type. 180 grit, 150 grit. You can get either one. But it's just a strip of regular sandpaper. And you can get it from Great Lakes. GreatLakesTechnologies.com. So, love the background. I'm just catching ortho stuff on doing repair and reline. Yay, denture guy. Maybe you can answer the question on before that was about the price between wire bending versus ceramics and stuff. So, all right, I'll keep the music going while I go pumice. I gotta go set up the thing real quick. So let's move my camera over. I need eventually I'm gonna have all my cameras set up at each station where I can just turn them on. And let's see if I can drop this down some. That on. Okay. Let's see if I can. Yep, there we go. Okay. I'm gonna wet this wheel, and I need to wet the sandpaper. See, y'all got me talking about sandpaper. This is pumice, and this is actually PS Dazzle, which is a pumice substitute. Now you'll hear a fan going in the background. Nope, I got some schmutz in there. Get out of here. The fan is because this pumice substitute, you don't want to breathe the powder in, but once it's wet, you're good. So I like a nice paste here, something you can hold and mold. Now I got to find the retainer. I've walked. What am I going to pumice? Well, let me turn this on. So I'm going to turn this on and run this up on there. And there's my retainer. It's on the desk. I usually have a system here, and I'll just go right along where the teeth should be first. And I like to do like figure eights and circles and stuff. You don't want to go all one direction all the time. You'll get little streaks. And then do the edge. And then blend it all in together. I'll do the wire just a little bit. The sandpaper will scuff up the wire some, so you're going to want to just pumice the wires just a bit. And just like you're going to want to high shine the wires just to make them nice. And I do like to put just a little bit, just pumice it just slightly, just to take off any sharp edges or anything. And I like to feel it with my hands just to make sure. Now I'm going to rinse this off, try to get all that pumice off, and steam it. Now this will get any last remnants of wax off, because you don't want wax on this part. So this is my high shine wheel, and this is my brick of, I think it's called acrylic gloss. I get it from JBC and Company. And there's still pumice on my hand. Rinse that off. And the fun part. Let's make it all nice. Let's do a half and half. Show a difference. Can y'all see the difference? Oh, look, you see where I need to pumice? Right there. Okay, let me just go back. Sometimes I forget to do just like an overall pumice job. Just to catch, you know, whenever I break it up into doing the teeth, doing the edges, that kind of thing. Again, just do the backside just a little bit. We were always taught in school. There we go. See, that's the fun part. Oh, get the wires a little bit. Not too much, because then your wheel will turn black like that. Alright, that's it. Now, what I would usually do is put it in my ultrasonic with some disinfectant that's in there. But we're not going to worry about that. So I can show the end of this video. Shut that all down. I gotta get a paper towel on my hands. See how long that take us? Hour, 12 minutes with all the talking. I guess that's not bad. You probably, you know, if you're in turbo mode, you could probably get one of these done in 40 minutes or so. Let me blast off, blow off any excess stuff here. So this is it. This is our final. You can see that glitter is, how popular that glitter is. It just makes the kids want to wear it, right? So let's show the function. So this is where I get to show off the function of here and why we were doing this in the first place. So how are these going to work, right? So as you can see, let me get a pair of pliers. Maybe this. You can see these move, right? See how they swing back and forth? So what the doctor's going to do, they're going to take this. I don't want to do this right now. I like to leave these passive for the doctors. They can add as much. They'll probably go here and they'll bend them toward the middle. So they'll actually be pointing straight out like this, right? And so then the kid will actually have to pull them back and snap it on the model. So let me bend, and so then the wires are going to try to move back to position where they were before. So that will close that gap. So let me see if I can bend this. Yeah, let's bend that one down and this one up. Let's see if I can use my little pliers here. I like to get these a little. That did nothing. There we go. All right. But you can see they're easier to hold there. Let's turn down that music just a bit. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully this is something easy for y'all to do, for y'all to learn, and that's it. So these teeth will slide along. This wire is kind of a guide now to help the teeth come together, and they'll close that space. Let me steam this real quick. I think I need to show this without the wax being filled in there, so you can actually see the gap. So loud in here. All right, so now you see the diastema, the gap between the teeth. And so this Actually, I probably need to clean that little bump right there. Yeah. So I usually keep a stainless steel thing here. I'm just going to bump that just ever so slightly. There we go. So now I got a nice even path, and you can see the way these move underneath the wire. So now you see why we put the wax, because if the acrylic was thick there, this thing would not move. So the doctor will activate it. It'll be like this, and then the patient has to pull them back, snap it down, and just over time, the more they wear the retainer, it'll close that diastema down. And they can close this gap without having to put brackets on. So most likely they're going to wait for teeth to fall out, teeth to grow in. It's kind of a phase 1 Hawley or something like that. But all right, so let's end it there. Thank y'all again for being here with me, watching this. Oh, love the music audio. Yeah, so YouTube is telling me, hey, you can use this audio for free, and I saw that, listened to that, and I was like, okay, that's perfect for like bending things and stuff like that. Next video, you can play Thomas Bergerson. I think that was Thomas Bergerson. Yeah, I'll play it. No, that's Kevin McLeod. Okay, I'll have to write that down. Thomas Bergerson. Let's see if he's, because they'll take down my channel. I'm writing it down. We're going to look up. Thank you very much. Learned a lot. Greetings from Portugal. Awesome. I'm glad to hear. I always like to hear where people are from, and we're all the same, right? We all have the same problems. We build the retainers almost the same way. We all want the end product, and so that's cool. But that's it. That's it. Today we created, start to finish, a Hawley with anterior finger springs with helical loops. So that's what this device will do. It will close this gap. Simple enough. So with that being said, thank y'all again for tuning in. Pay attention next week. Maybe I'll do a Sunday again. Looks like we've got some new guests here, and kind of a low key for me. In the middle of the day, of a work day, of a lab, y'all know how busy it can be. It's kind of hard to do a live stream, but again, I like doing these Sundays, so maybe I'll keep doing them for a little while until something else comes through. So that being said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and let me find my famous, very loud outro music. There we go. Okay, and until then, until next time, until next week, happy bending.